Man shall not lie with man. Where that comes from, that line is from Leviticus 18:22 and also repeated in 2013. Now here's where you need clarity, because people throw this verse around without context. What was Leviticus? Leviticus is part of the Old Testament law given to ancient Israel. It includes moral laws, ritual laws like sacrifices, cultural laws like clothing, diet, purity rules. For example, the same section also prohibits eating certain foods like shellfish, wearing mixed fabrics, so the question becomes, why was that law written at that time? The most grounded explanation scholars give: separation from surrounding cultures. Israel was surrounded by nations practicing temple prostitution, ritual sex, and exploitation. These laws set them apart. Order and identity for that society. These laws helped define how that specific community was structured, including family and reproduction. Ancient understanding of sexuality. People in that time did not understand sexual orientation or homosexuality the way we do today. The focus was on actions, not identity. Important truth: people skip over. Jesus never directly spoke about same-sex relationships in the Gospels. What he did emphasize repeatedly was love, mercy, humility, not condemning others harshly, and that matters, because Christians believe Jesus fulfills the law, Matthew 5:17, meaning his teachings are the lens through which everything else is understood. These are not all the same message, and combining them can lead to confusion or misuse. Straight truth: no sugarcoating. People have used these passages to justify hate. That's not a careful reading of the Bible. That's selective interpretation driven by emotion or control. If you're going to talk about Scripture seriously, you have to respect historical context, who it was written to, and how Jesus reframed everything through love and truth. Sodom and Gomorrah, Genesis 19. The scene described is not about consensual group sex or reproduction rituals. It's much darker than that. The men of the city surround Lot's house and demand to violate his guests. This is about attempted sexual violence, humiliation, and abuse of outsiders, not about relationships or fertility. And when the Bible later reflects on Sodom, Ezekiel 16:49, it highlights arrogance, wealth without compassion, neglect of the poor, general corruption, ancient cultures, and sexual rituals. Now, this is where your idea connects a little, but not directly to Sodom. Some ancient neighboring cultures, like certain Canaanite practices, did include fertility rituals, temple prostitution, symbolic sexual acts tied to crops or blessings, but those were usually tied to idol worship, not about having children in a literal biological sense, more about trying to please gods for prosperity. So yes, ritual sex existed in the ancient world, but that's a different context. Leviticus laws: man shall not lie with man. This law is not described as addressing homosexuality. Most grounded interpretations say it was about separating Israel from surrounding pagan practices, regulating sexual behavior in their society, maintaining a specific cultural and religious identity. Sodom equals violence, abuse, injustice. It's easy to mash these ideas together and end up with a distorted picture. A lot of people have done that over time, and it leads to confusion or even harmful conclusions. If you want to understand Scripture in a strong, grounded way, you have to separate stories, context, and purpose, instead of blending them into one narrative.